In a world filled with giants, fairies, holy knights, and demons, a child of prophecy was born to save the people and destroy the evil reign of a cruel emperor. In a faraway land, the young boy, Percival, attempts to catch a giant bird and is assisted by his Hercules Grand-dad, Varghese. These two were the solitary inhabitants of this heavenly town, and they worked as a team to survive and live their days in peace. Their battles remind me of Escanor and Meliodas, given their respective sizes. However, this was only a training sparring. It was then announced that Percy turned 16, and unlike other teenagers, he wasn't in the mood for a sweet 16, nor did he want to leave his granddad alone. Despite trying to convince him to go on a journey, Percy was stubborn and refused the idea of going out. He really did enjoy his time with the drunkard. He sat down, listening to his old tales in fascination, and memorized his advices even. Now that's one sharp kid. He went out late at night and dreamt of traveling the world one day. It seemed that he lied to his granddad to keep him safe. The next day, he found a creepy traveler on a flying boat. The knight informed him that he was part of the Holy Knight Alliance and asked him where he'd find Varghese. Upon learning of his whereabouts, he headed towards him and blasted him with one strike. Whoa, did Varghese sleep with his girl or something? They started clashing swords, but Varghese was no match for Ironside. Percy tried to help, but this caused his granddad to drop his guard, leading to a fatal attack. Percy was then hit with the same and was dropped like a bug. This guy is crazy strong. He revealed that he was ready to kill the 4 knights of the apocalypse, and what's even worse is that Varghese told Percy that Ironside was his dad. Now that is messed up. With his dying words, he warned Percy to train hard and to save the world. What a cruel world we live in. We barely got to know him, and he's already gone. Percy spent the next few days burying and grieving his only family. He found spare clothes his granddad made, and after a few weeks, he was finally ready to set out. He tried climbing down the heavens until he accidentally fell. How is he still alive? He was then introduced to a fox and tried explaining his situation to him. He kept on talking and talking until the fox walked away and tried to run away from him. Percy tried searching for it and encountered a strange-looking band of magicians. They were performing circus tricks, and he interrupted their act to acknowledge their efforts. The head, Donnie, tried scamming him by taking his bag and using his magic to force him to levitate. Upon trying to escape with their chariot, Percy used his lightning-fast speed to catch up to them. This guy sure was special. He asked them if they knew of a guy named Ironside and explained his traumatic run-in with him. Since he was seeking vengeance, they were willing to take him to the nearest village to help him find the killer. While riding on the chariot, they found out that he was completely oblivious about the real world and knew nothing about nothing. Only thing he knew was that Ironside was a holy knight and that he killed his granddad. Just then, citizens came crying for help since a monster was attacking their village. Upon seeing the size of the monster, they tried running away, but Percy leaped into action and warned the monster to back off. Donnie tried shielding him from an attack. Little did he know that Percy was a walking monster himself. The villagers were astonished, and the fox was eyeing him from above. They tried patching Donnie up while Percy was taking a bath with the hottie. Since she assumed he was a little kid, she let him clean up alongside her. Oh, you lucky champ. If only she knew how old you really were. Since this was the first time he saw a girl, he didn't show any signs of lust or affection, completely innocent like a newborn baby. A little while later, the villagers gave him a drink, and they found out he was actually 16, causing everyone to shudder. Everyone was dancing and having fun while Percy went around asking for information. Just then, a creepy black knight came floating down. Peligard was another holy knight, and asked Percy to join him if he wanted to learn more about his father. However, there was one condition: to battle him with all his might. Percy tried attacking him, but was weak and his punches were easily blocked. It seems that he didn't know how to use magic and was getting beaten mercilessly. In a stroke of luck, he unlocked his magical power and was ready for round 2. Hold up! Percy didn't see this coming and started freaking out over this newfound discovery. He tried removing it and accidentally knocked Pell down. Talk about unexpected power. This upset our Dark Knight, who was ready to show him his true might. His fireball was insane to dodge, since it followed you around like a missile. Eventually, it struck him and kept on burning like Itachi's Amaterasu. Pell told him to stand down, but magical minions of his surrounded him and healed Percy. What kind of magic is this? This is never heard of in the Seven Deadly Sins universe. The knight was completely bombarded and received another clean hit. There might be a chance Percy could win this after all. Who would have thought an adorable little kid could wield tremendous power? Donnie came to help and used his magic to try and incapacitate him. However, he exploded on sight, and the fox had to intervene and teleport them both out of there. Well, that was unexpected. They ended up on top of Dragon Bones, miles away from the incident. The fox started speaking and scared the life out of both of them. He told them to call him Sin and insisted they follow him from here on out. He tried explaining who Pell was by informing him of the evil king he worked for and how they planned to kill the 4 knights of the apocalypse. There was a prophecy that these 4 knights will be the cause of destruction and the downfall of the king. As such, Percy's life was in danger, and they had to find a solution before it was too late. Elsewhere, Pell went down the stairs into a secret meeting between the knights. This looked like some Freemason stuff. The head knight explained to them that one of the holy knights was located, and Ironside was upset upon hearing it was his child. While trying to leave, he was ambushed by Pell, who told him about their encounter and how powerful his son has gotten. Back at the Dragon Bones, Fox told them that they were heading to Camelot. Donnie considered it a lie since the place was destroyed after the holy war between the 7 deadly sins and the demon clan. Even so, Percy was too gullible and wanted to head there anyway. But before that, they had to head to Britannia, the capital of the sins. On their way, Percy defeated a couple of monsters and was ready to eat until he heard a mysterious cry for help. Upon reaching a hut, he found a creepy-looking kid torturing a creature and tried freeing it, but got caught in his trap instead. Sin and Donnie met up with some fairies who started telling them of the cruelty the Mad Doctor is capable of. Meanwhile, Nacians had tied up Percy and was planning to use him as a guinea pig. He stripped him of his cloth and injected something in him that increased his hair. Not the result he was looking for, apparently. Since Percy wasn't an ordinary human, he was planning to use him for multiple tests. Elsewhere, Donnie and the rest were running away from monsters. Once again, Nasi was trying to concoct devious potions. However, Percy broke free and informed him of his important mission. He started attacking him out of nowhere and demanded he remain still. Unfortunately, he slipped, and one of his potions landed in Percy's hand. He drank it all without hesitation and passed out. After waking up, Percy felt like the New Age Hercules and was bursting with energy. Nasi was amazed at this discovery since his potion finally worked. He drank what remained of it and went to sleep. The gang met up with them and told of a doctor named Ordo. He was taking care of the gorge and caring for the inhabitants there. He saved giants and found baby Nasi in the wild. After taking him in, he raised him as one of his own. Eventually, Ordo vanished, and the gorge was in dire situation. When he awoke, the fairies trying bullying him, but Percy defended his right. Just then, a poisonous gas started degrading the forest, and using his magic, Nasi revived it. Now that's a useful power. He explained the situation to everyone and was hailed as a hero. Just then, a scary-looking monster appeared and was identified as Ordo. What happened to him? He was the one spewing the poisonous gas and destroying the forest. It seemed that he was brainwashed and controlled by the creature Percy saved earlier. What an unexpected plot twist. Percy hugged him tight and told him not to worry. After the creature was struck by an arrow, he revealed his true form as a holy knight, Talisker, the Amber Knight. In the eyes of Percy, he was just another comrade of Ironside, but to Nasi, he was the villain who deformed and stole his father. Percy tried activating his magic, but failed since he wasn't acquainted with it. Tali threw a hailstorm at Nasi, but Percy defended him. Are all the holy knights this powerful? He threw another hailstorm, and Percy jumped up and tried blocking everyone. What a courageous fellow. He was broken and bruised, and things seemed dire until he activated his weird magic, healing himself and feeling more pumped than ever. When another hailstorm hit, his magic gobbled it up and spewed it back out. The tables had finally turned, and Tali was on the defensive this time. Using a gigantic hand, he crushed him and demanded information about Ordo. Left with no option, he started spilling the beans of why and how he manipulated Ordo. Afterward, he broke free and used his final trump card against him. This time, he summoned lightning to strike his foes down, but this didn't work, and Percy dashed into battle. Donnie revealed that Percy's magic was actually the power of imagination, and using this info, he imagined a sword and cut through, ending the battle in an instant. No wonder he was one of the 4 calamities. Now that Tali was defeated, Ordo regained his true form and embraced his son after all this time. It was an emotional moment for everyone. Afterward, Fox wasted no time instructing the gang to get going, straight to business as always. However, Nasi wanted to tag along since they helped him save Ordo and the Gorge. In addition, he wanted to get his revenge on the Holy Knights. Would you look at that, they were getting stronger by the day. Elsewhere, Ironside met up with a royal family and asked them to find him a rare item called Eternal Coffin of Darkness. What's this guy up to? Meanwhile, the gang were catching fish and chilling, chatting like they didn't have huge bounties on their head. Upon talking about the magical orbs, Nasi started simping over Merlin since she was the creator. Afterward, they stumbled upon a village, and using his magic, Percy was able to locate a rare artifact. The princess, Anne, caught them stealing and attacked Donnie. She quickly got rid of Nasi, and upon attempting to strike Percy, he gave her the artifact. She was able to read auras and found he was clean and innocent, unlike the rest. She bid them farewell and told them to protect the artifact. Later on, the sneaky fox told them it was the Eternal Coffin of Darkness. The princess got into an argument with her father over the artifact and his blind obedience to Ironside. He ended up slapping her and leaving to meet up with the Red Knight. Percy tried going after his father but was held back, while Ironside was trying to convince the villagers to locate the missing piece before it fell into the wrong hands. Apparently, this was the artifact used to seal the demon clan, and using it, Ironside planned on resurrecting them. However, his plan was ruined when Anne interrupted his speech and called him a liar. When he tried manhandling her, Percy jumped after her like the hero he was and tried saving the princess. Meanwhile, one of Ironside's servants stole the missing piece, and his plan was close to fruition. Fox warned everyone to save the city before it fell into peril, and they all unanimously agreed. Ironside began the ritual, and it seemed quite demonic. Powerful monsters started emerging, and all hell was breaking loose. Despite the horror that awaited, the gang went ahead to face the threat by themselves. Ironside's aura was immense, but Percy didn't give a rat's ass. He kept on dodging his lethal attacks while Donnie ran away like a coward. Percy was giving it his all trying to defeat his father, and Anne chipped in to help. Using her fencing skills, she tried landing a blow, but failed due to her weakness. Suddenly, he felt weak since Nasi used paralysis magic on him. Even so, it wasn't sufficient to bring him down. Percy healed his comrade's wounds, but was caught by Ironside's grip. He kept on torturing his son while everyone stood paralyzed in fear. The difference in power was immense, and he crushed his magic and stabbed his heart, finally killing his son. What a ruthless man. First his father, then his own son. This was truly despicable. Nasi checked his pulse and there was nothing. Anne tried giving him CPR, but nothing worked. It seemed that he was clinically dead. Just then, one of his magic underlings popped up, and soon enough, more started popping up one after the other. It seemed that his comrade's hope was starting to energize him, and soon enough, Donnie returned to the battlefield, and Percy got back up, looking like an angel. Elsewhere, Fox transformed and started killing the monsters left and right. Damn, who knew he was this powerful? Ironside was starting to get fed up and decided to go all out. His attacks were relentless, but Percy's speed was unmatched. After dodging the majority of his attacks, he managed to break the coffin apart and slice his helmet open, revealing his true face. The face of a cold-blooded killer, if you ask me. Another holy knight came and warned him to leave, since there was a threat comparable to the 7 deadly sins around. Must have been Fox's aura that scared them off. They were all extremely exhausted afterward, and the sneaky Fox came strolling in like nothing happened. His secret seemed to be safe for the time being. The next day, Percy cried tears for his dad, while Ironside was being scolded by Arthur. Wait a minute, since when did Arthur turn into the bad guy? Also, how powerful is he now? That's insane levels of magic. Ironside stood no chance at all. Hold up, is that Merlin beside him? Would someone please explain what is going on here? Meanwhile, the townsfolk started rebuilding, and it was time for the gang to head out on their journey. Before they left, Anne insisted she tag along and was welcomed cordially by everyone. She was quite excited about going on a journey and even brought along her pony while everyone else was walking on foot. However, this was an untrained pony and broke down exhausted. Who could blame it? The crew kept teasing her about it, and she vented her rage to Percy, who apparently didn't know about Meliodas or the 7 deadly sins. Our poor girl was crushing over the captain and insisted they head there straight away. But before that, she wanted a leader to be elected and casually dismissed everyone excluding herself. Now she's a devious princess. Fox, on the other hand, took out a map and started acting like a true leader, which upset her. While walking, they found a hidden fort and decided to go shopping and check things out. They decided to get a room but were told it cost 22 silvers total. Unfortunately, Anne had finished all their money on useless lamps and accessories. Fox was livid at her reckless decision, but she knew of a way to get the money back and took Percy to the battle arena. Meanwhile, Donnie and Nasi went to the bar, where the holy knight, Hauser, interrupted their drink. Donnie used to be his student, and he was upset at how things turned out. Percy and Anne got their money back, while Fox and the pony chilled at the barnyard. Just then, Hauser saw the coffin of darkness and assumed Donnie stole it. After scolding him, Donnie went out running, causing Nasi to defend his right. He challenged him to a drink-off and held his own until Nasi revealed that the place was overrun by bandits and thieves. Percy and Anne fell, and another one of Hauser's student, Edlin, showed up. Hauser tried fighting back, but was too inebriated and fell unconscious as well. Nasi was the only one left, and using his magic, he knocked everyone out. However, Edlin used his illusion magic to trick him. Everyone was caught, and only Donnie was out and about. Edlin went up to him to propose a partnership. He offered him a share of the loot and to rob his companions blind. With a sudden change of heart, Edlin summoned a dragon to try and scare him off, while the gang was locked up in an underground cell. The bartender came to free them, since he was a good friend of Hauser back in the days. He then explained about the dragon Edlin tamed. Apparently, he had stolen his egg and was using it as ransom to threaten the dragon into submission. The bartender explained to them how Edlin gathered a bunch of bandits to serve his need, and using his illusion magic, he was able to convince the dragon the egg was still intact. However, it was only a matter of time till the dragon caught up and wreaked havoc. Elsewhere, the bandits rebelled against Edlin and stole his egg. They dropped it, and upon seeing it was a fake, the dragon started rampaging and tearing things down like it was the beginning of the apocalypse. Meanwhile, the bartender showed them the hideout of the real dragon and asked them to heal it. Sin came riding the pony and told them to protect the fort before it collapsed. Donnie saved Edlin and asked him to team up. Percy came rushing in and rescued them from the dragon's fiery breath. This guy's magic is truly unique. In a flashback, we can see Donnie and Edlin training hard alongside Hauser. We are then flashed back to the present, where Nasi is trying to heal the dragon, while Sin explains that Donnie actually saved the coffin of darkness from a holy knight. Hauser was in disbelief, but had faith. Meanwhile, Percy and the rest were giving it their all against the dragon, who seemed untouchable. They started running away since none of their attacks worked. Just then, Hauser came, looking cool and facing off the dragon head-on. Using his tornado, he managed to land a clean hit, knocking the dragon down. Are you telling me Hauser is stronger than Percy? What kind of logic is this? Regardless, he did deal damage to the dragon and knocked it unconscious. Percy turned into a fanboy all of a sudden and asked him to train him. Afterward, Nasi healed the baby dragon, and the two reunited in a wholesome moment. The day was saved, and Hauser asked Edlin to come back and train under him to become a holy knight. He was reluctant, but accepted his proposal. Donnie, on the other hand, refused his offer since he already had a team he could rely on. Hauser then made a sword for Percy out of the coffin of darkness and reminded Sin to send a message to His Majesty. The fox transformed and shot an arrow into the sky, heading all the way to the royal capital, where our boy Meliodas was in charge. He felt relief and awaited their arrival. Now that's how you end a show. What a cliffhanger. As always, if you want to see more amazing content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to stay updated.